Well, to me, it was Shedeur. I didn't see any interceptions when he was out there. I didn't see anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Dillon Gabriel did a bad job. I was impressed with the brother, but I'm going to go with Shedeur. You know, the pressure was on him. The spotlight was on him. He showed up out on the field. You know, he played better than expected, reminded everybody who he is and what he brings to the table. Shedeur moved the offense or whatever. I thought that his performance was slightly better than Dillon Gabriel. That's just me, guys.
And to get the compare and contrast, the juxtaposition from how he handled his post-game press conference after his first preseason action versus Shedeur.
Well. After Dillon Gabriel's costly fumble in the last game and his controversial comments about Shedeur Sanders, the spotlight is squarely back on the Cleveland Browns. The pressure is mounting, and fans are louder than ever, rallying around Shedeur Sanders and demanding that he finally gets a chance to start, especially in the upcoming matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. The fan base isn't just voicing opinions, they're unified, vocal, and persistent. Social media is buzzing, podcasts are debating it, and analysts are weighing in. The heat is unmistakably on Kevin Stefanski. And this time, the criticism isn't casual or fleeting, it's intense, widespread, and relentless. After choosing to roll with Dillon Gabriel in the previous game, many are openly questioning Stefanski's decision-making process. What's more perplexing is his reluctance to directly confront the ongoing Shedeur Sanders debate. Fans and pundits alike are left scratching their heads, wondering where Stefanski truly stands.
Opening day starter is at quarterback. Will you also set the pecking order following? Meaning quarterback 2, 3, and 4, or will there be a competition right through Cincinnati week?
Yeah, well, I'll talk to we'll have the team in tomorrow, so I'll be able to talk through a bunch of different things with our players. But in terms of, you know, where people are, first string, second string, those type of things, not really thinking about that right this minute.
During his most recent press conference, Stefanski appeared visibly unsettled. The pauses, the careful phrasing, the hesitancy. It was clear he wasn't comfortable addressing the quarterback situation, particularly when Shedeur Sanders' name came up. When asked why he intends to play the regular starter in the third preseason game this year, after avoiding that move entirely last year, his response left more questions than answers. His exact words, "We do what the players need." On the surface, it's a safe answer, but the reality is Stefanski remains hesitant to give Shedeur a real opportunity. At the same time, he seems cautious about speaking out against him, likely aware that fans have a legitimate point. And when pressed directly about the quarterback situation, he added only, "We'll decide in a couple of days." But let's be honest, no one truly believes you can determine your starting quarterback in just 2 days. That's not planning, that's stalling, and fans can see right through it. Deep down, they realize their voices are being heard. Keep the pressure on, and Stefanski may have no choice but to recognize that Shedeur Sanders deserves a more prominent role.
What do you plan to do at quarterback for the dress rehearsal game, and what is the timeline for naming a week 1 starter?
Yeah, I want to get through the next couple days, but certainly that's something that we're going to do here sooner than later.
Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel's recent remarks about Shedeur Sanders have only amplified the scrutiny on the Browns. Analysts are stepping in, pointing out that Shedeur Sanders has shown more promise and poise than Gabriel, both on and off the field. Chris Canty didn't hold back. He emphasized that Sanders' debut was far more impressive than Gabriel's performance, highlighting not just his skill set, but also how he handled the spotlight, the pressure, and the responsibilities of being a quarterback. In Canty's eyes, Sanders has already earned the right to play a bigger role on this team.
And to get the compare and contrast, the juxtaposition from how he handled his post-game press conference after his first preseason action versus Shedeur.
Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel is scrambling to repair his image. He's attempting to walk back his comments about Shedeur Sanders, framing them as a misunderstanding or miscommunication. But was it really a misunderstanding? His statements were clear, direct, and unmistakable. He took shots at Sanders in a way that left little room for interpretation. Now that the backlash has hit, he's attempting to dial it back, but the attempt comes off as weak. Here's the key distinction. There's a difference between being a competitor and being an entertainer. Gabriel's comments have positioned him more in the latter category. Chris Canty drew a direct parallel to a situation from Oregon when the coach publicly criticized Colorado, and the team seemed to play more for clicks than performance. Sanders, in that case, was right in the spotlight, and now Gabriel's words echo that tone almost identically. Canty argued this wasn't an innocent slip, it fit into a broader narrative. No matter how much Gabriel tries to frame it differently, the intent behind his comments was clear, and fans are seeing right through it. The calls for Shedeur Sanders to take over the starting role are only growing louder.
Stepped into the spotlight here is the entertainer. Is that how you took it?
Oh, absolutely. How could it not go to that place? I mean, remember, we had his former head coach, Dan Lanning at Oregon, give the pregame speech where he was just talking about how Colorado was doing it for clicks and they were trying to do it for wins. Remember, Shedeur Sanders being the quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes, his dad being Coach Prime.
Shannon Sharpe also weighed in, refusing to let Gabriel off the hook. He flatly rejected the notion that Gabriel's comments were being misinterpreted, insisting that the remarks were deliberate, pointed, and impossible to misread. Sharpe drew attention to a strikingly similar scenario last season, when Oregon's head coach publicly jabbed Colorado using almost the same language and tone. The kicker, Dillon Gabriel, was the quarterback at the center of that situation, and now, history seems to be repeating itself. No amount of backpedaling can change the narrative. Fans, analysts, and even the media are seeing Gabriel's comments for what they really are, a deliberate dig at Shedeur Sanders.
Saying he meant the media are the entertainers and a competitor, and he's a competitor, and he wasn't taking a shot at Shedeur, but the damage was done. Everybody knows what he meant by that, because you know why? And I'm gonna let you take off. You remember at Oregon what the head coach said when they played Colorado?
Right.
Who was the quarterback?
Yeah.
Who was the quarterback?
Chris Canty didn't let up, pressing even harder on Gabriel's remarks. He pointed out that Gabriel was taking indirect shots at Shedeur while trying to maintain plausible deniability. Even if you argue that his comments were meant for the media, Canty questioned the logic. What exactly did that achieve? The media's role is to report and analyze. A player's role is to perform on the field. Gabriel's attempt to blur those lines didn't help his case. It only highlighted a lack of focus and leadership. In fact, Canty argued it made Gabriel appear weaker, especially as his excuse unraveled under scrutiny. Now the media is joining the fans, amplifying the calls for a quarterback change and pushing Shedeur Sanders higher on the depth chart.
And I hope, for his sake, that he takes that as a teachable moment.
Yep.
Because when you're the quarterback of the team, it's a leadership position by nature. And not only do you have to be good on the field, but you got to be good at the podium. It's a part of the job requirement. And I thought that was the wrong tone to set in terms of his post-game interview.
At this point, the situation has evolved beyond a simple preseason quarterback decision. Gabriel's struggles on the field, coupled with his controversial remarks off of it, have turned this into a larger issue of leadership, accountability, and maturity. Fans and analysts alike are noticing the stark contrast between Gabriel and Sanders. Sanders exudes composure, confidence, and poise, both in games and in handling pressure situations. Gabriel, on the other hand, has shown inconsistency, poor judgment in public comments, and a tendency to prioritize image over substance. Chris Canty and Shannon Sharpe have both emphasized that Gabriel's comments weren't slips, they were deliberate. His attempts to walk them back only weakened his credibility. Meanwhile, Sanders has demonstrated the qualities of a leader and a franchise quarterback in every way that counts. The pressure on Kevin Stefanski is now at its peak. Vague responses, evasions, and stalling tactics are no longer enough. The fan base, media, and analysts are all converging on one message. Shedeur Sanders deserves his opportunity to lead this team. So here's the question for you. Is Stefanski truly making the best decision for the team? Or is he just trying to buy time under pressure? Should Shedeur Sanders be given the starting role immediately? Or does Dillon Gabriel still deserve a chance? And finally, were Gabriel's comments genuinely a miscommunication? Or was the backlash fully justified? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your take on this evolving quarterback controversy, because one thing is clear, the Browns' quarterback situation is far from resolved, and the drama is only heating up.